What if I told you that there's a formula that'll tell you exactly what marketing you should be doing? No more chasing trends or making big bets based on instinct, and definitely no more marketing mocktails of everything everyone asks for. Just simple math that'll lead to a marketing plan that's guaranteed to deliver. It sounds too good to be true, right? That's what I thought when I first met up with Abby Murray, CEO and co-founder of StoryArb. But then she started laying out the equation.
It starts at the bottomest of bottom of funnel, which everybody cares about, which is revenue. What revenue do we want to drive over the course of this period of time? And from that number, you can define your marketing strategy by reverse engineering.
When you work backwards from your target revenue, you can actually see how to set up your whole marketing function, from sales targets all the way up to traffic and content. Abby is an expert who has applied this backwards math to Fortune 500 companies, B2B startups, and even her own companies. And in this video, she's walking us through her equation step by step. Once you know the math behind your marketing, the next step is turning that into an actual marketing plan. And HubSpot put together a free AI-powered guide that helps you do exactly that. It breaks the entire planning process into bite-sized prompts and workflows, so you can take the math you build in this video and translate it into a complete marketing plan using AI as your co-pilot. You can download it using the link below. Okay, let's build the math you'll plug into that plan. Before you can do any backwards math, you first need the right numbers. And no one knows the numbers tied to revenue better than the sales team.
Your client at this point is your sales team, and you get a really good understanding from them on what's worked and what is painful for them. And then, of course, the numbers themselves, which is like, okay, you need to understand ACV. What is the average contract value? What is your conversion rate of the meetings held? How many meetings does it take to get one deal? How long does it take between first meeting and closed win? All of these pieces of information are going to be critical for you in being successful in setting up your marketing motion.
Here's an example to illustrate how these numbers help marketers define their goals. Let's say your company needs $100,000 in new monthly revenue. If your average contract value is $12,000, then you need roughly 8 new customers. Sales told us they closed 15% of prospects after a product demo, which means they need to do at least 55 demos. Abby always recommends adding a 20% buffer to any target, so our target is 65 demos. Marketing needs to drive 65 demos to get those 8 accounts that'll deliver $100,000 in new monthly revenue.
Now I have, for the marketing team, kind of our bottom of funnel. The meeting scheduled is the bottom of funnel oftentimes for the marketing team to then pass the baton to the sales team.
It's marketing's turn to figure out how to hit those numbers, and that's where the second half of this equation really takes shape.
Now it's time to look at history and say, where have those demos come from in the past?
Building on our hypothetical, let's say you dig into your marketing metrics and you find that 70% of demos are booked through your website's pricing page.
I can now create tracks from that to say, okay, from our site visits, what is the conversion rate of website traffic to pricing page visits? What is the conversion rate from pricing page visits to demos requested? Now I know, reverse back, how many website visits I need to generate.
The next step is to look at your go-to-market model. Are you sales-led, product-led, or are you doing a mix of both? That's what determines which marketing levers you pull. If you know your marketing motion, you can start assigning weight to your channels. So, for a sales-led company, it might be events, outbound, or sales enablement content. For product-led, it's SEO, nurture, and in-app content that drives activation.
Always, 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 always start with what has worked in the past. Don't introduce brand new tactics because they're fancy new tools. Start with what you know works, that meets your conversion rate you need to hit. Start there. Then it just becomes a numbers game.
Going back to our hypothetical, let's say each of these channels contributes a piece of the total number you need to hit. And because you already know the conversion rates, you can predict before you spend $1 how much each lever might contribute to revenue.
That is how you start to put together your marketing plan. Starting with that end number, reversing your way up, and making incremental improvements to those quarter over quarter to reach your goal.
The beauty behind this marketing math is threefold. Number 1, it gives you the KPIs you need to track.
You're going to want to stand up your marketing motion and the KPI reporting to align with that sales cycle. Oftentimes I'm saying like 2x the sales cycle. You want to report the math based on that because you got to give yourself a little time for it to work.
In other words, your KPIs should move at the same pace as your sales cycle, or you risk thinking your marketing isn't working when it just hasn't had the proper time to reach your audience. Number 2, it creates real alignment within your organization because everyone's KPIs tie back to revenue. That's the foundation of your marketing math, so when that number isn't going up, sales and marketing look at the equation to figure out what's not working together. High traffic, low conversions to demo? Maybe marketing isn't bringing in qualified leads. Strong conversions, but a slipping win rate? Maybe the audience's needs have changed and sales needs to adapt its pitch. No matter the problem, you'll find it by working together through the math. Which brings me to number 3. This is the best way to justify your marketing budget.
The closer you can tie your budget to what has worked in the past and what has driven revenue, the more likely you are to get that approved.
When you can show this channel drove this much pipeline, this content influenced this many deals, this campaign shortened our sales cycle, now you're speaking the same language as sales. Obviously, you can't only do what's worked in the past. Eventually, you'll hit a point of diminishing returns. But how do you plan for new, untested forms of marketing?
Experimentation should come outside of that funnel that you've built. There's no KPIs for those. It's just establishing baseline and measure it in the same way you would measure your other KPIs, knowing that you are just figuring out what it does.
The math gives you the confidence to make bets and the structure to know when those bets are paying off. It's beautiful. So that's the full equation. Start with revenue, that's where everything builds from. Get key numbers from sales, average contract value, win rate, sales cycle. Work backwards. Revenue, customers, point of sale, traffic. Figure out your marketing mix. Build on what works for your business. Track and optimize. Measure how each lever moves the equation forward.
As long as you have an idea, which most companies do, of the revenue target, it's oftentimes just a partnership with the sales team to start. And then marketing can take and drive those specific targets to get the sales team what they need.
When you know the math of your business, you stop chasing tactics and start running a strategy. It turns marketing from a guessing game into a measurable, repeatable system. Now that you understand the math behind your business, make sure to check out how AI can help you turn those insights into a real marketing plan. And let us know in the comments what tools you're using to uncover strategies tailored to your business. Whether it's AI or good old-fashioned math, we all have our own ways of figuring out what marketing actually works. So share that in the comments.